Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Liberty Libations number 43. My name is Jake Green, joined as always by Stephen Hilton and Alden Hardee. Sláinte, everybody. What y'all drinking? Steve, what do you got this time?
I'm still working on the homebrew, the strawberry blonde. So we brewed some more IPA last weekend. Got to empty the kegs and make some room.
And somehow you had to organize one beer to have four of right next to you?
No, there's 3 cans behind that one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I've got the order.
All right. Alden, what are you drinking?
Normally, I'm pretty partial to redheads, but I also have a blonde tonight, actually.
Oh.
Hutton and Smith, local brewery, Base Camp Blonde. I don't normally like blondes, honestly, that much. Like, truly, now we're just talking about beer. But this one's pretty good.
Nice. And as always, future sponsor of the show, I'm drinking Guinness.
Hey, I've got a Guinness glass. It's just old and worn out. So
I find it to be insulting that you pour something besides Guinness in a Guinness glass. I don't care for it, and I don't think you should be allowed back on the show.
I had so many Guinness glasses that I borrowed from various pubs in Savannah, and they all got shattered in that house we lived in there.
Shocker.
Yeah, no, it was...
I'm so surprised.
Yeah, with Owen throwing a cast iron skillet into a sink full of dishes every night. Like, yeah, no, it happened.
Gosh, I completely forgot that he did that. And just stuff went everywhere.
Why did he clean? I don't know. I had to clean broken glass out of the sink like every week. Anyway, flashback.
Freaking Owen McCrory.
How's he doing? Have you seen him?
We
can talk about that later, but
yeah, I haven't seen him, but he was always a winner, so I'm sure he's still out there winning.
He's fine, yeah.
Still throwing skillets.
Throwing skillets.
I'm sure that's a euphemism of some sport.
All right, well, we're waiting on our fourth member to get here a little later, and we're going to do trivia then. So for now, Zach, let's go to our first story. Biden is unveiling the American Climate Corps, a program with echoes of the New Deal. Let's scroll down a little bit, Zach, just to read a little bit more. The White House on Wednesday unveiled a new climate jobs training program that it says could put 20,000 people to work in its first year on projects like restoring land, improving communities' resilience to natural disasters, and deploying clean energy. Come on, y'all. He's going to create 20,000 new government jobs.
That's almost as much as are killed by guns every day.
I mean, according to some people.
Yeah, there we go. According to, what is it, Pelosi or Barbara Boxer, one of them.
Yeah, I forget who we were talking about that said their quote was like, it was like 100,000 a day or something. I'm like, there'd be no one left.
Yeah,
never mind.
It's a bunch of people too that repeated that after that, which was absolutely
of course, yeah.
But anyway, what do we think about this? Like, what's the end game here? Why do we have an American Climate Corps being formed? Is it because they couldn't get the Green New Deal through?
Yes.
I was going to make the same comment that basically this is that with a new name.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally they're taking. I mean, how much are people going to get paid? 20,000 people get paid what? I'm assuming there's going to be massive overpaying. So
20,000 migrant workers,
$100,000 a year per person.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but is this going to be? I mean, does this qualify for like military service? Like, can I join the Climate Corps and then have PTSD because of climate change? And then get healthcare for life?
I think people are already trying to go that route without joining the Corps.
Well, yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, you even said the headline even said it. It echoes the New Deal, and that's the whole thing is. They're trying to say, hey, this thing isn't dead yet, and they're not just talking about Biden. They're talking about the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
So that's why they got Bernie up there on the podium. Weekend at Bernie's up there.
Oh,
I swear we're going to see his puppet strings one day. Like, what makes him stand up? It's wild.
There's no way that that's a real picture.
Or the edge of his mask.
That looks like something I created in Photoshop.
We were just talking about green screens. Like
it looks like a green screen. Like the I don't know. He is like perfectly in focus, all of it, and then the background is incredibly out of focus. Which you can achieve that look, but like Biden just never looks real. especially when he's trying to be serious.
I think the background is real. He's green screened.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh,
Yeah.
And he looks like he's thinning. Has he already been embalmed? Like, is there some kind of like robot endoskeleton within him that allows him to move around and look like he's talking?
At what point did somebody tell him, "You look great in aviators. You should wear them all the time"?
I think it was 1936 when someone told him that. Yeah.
What the frick is this Play Live radio thing that just popped up here, Zach? Were you trying to zoom in on the picture?
Legend has it they once told Corn Pop he didn't look good in aviators, and they are still feeling his leg hair in the pool to this day.
Yeah. How many people work for the government now? Do we know that? It's millions.
Do you count the military?
They're the largest single employer in the country, I do believe.
Oh, we definitely count military.
Then it is a lot. Yeah.
Oh, I think
it's the largest
in
in
the
the
hat
world.
make him feel superior.
Yeah.
Are we sure he can think that analytically at this point in time? I feel like it's just to put a shade over his, like, no way anybody's going to see behind those aviators. He's just got dead eyes back there.
Or he's just all pupil because whatever they have him on. It's just nothing but
They didn't have enough time to do the makeup around the mask edge there that day.
right.
So they were like, throw the glasses on.
It's just a weird route to take in the middle of all this Ukraine war stuff, COVID apparently coming back, all these new regulations coming, and now they're going to put in a corps to fight global or climate change here at home. Like, it's
Well, and here's an interesting, if you want to spitball like a storyline. So here's an interesting, like, what if you want to go down a rabbit hole. What if they start incentivizing this stuff more than military service? Then they remove the draft, which, hurrah from the Libertarians, right? Because we don't like conscription. We don't agree with that. But this gains more momentum than serving in the military. Because, the youth of today is so brainwashed that they will sign on to this communist stuff. And it's basically like they're drafting their own army within our ranks.
What are going to be some of their, what are they going to do? What are some of their things that they're going to be in charge of? Like, I don't really understand what they're going to be doing. Let's see. I've got the thing pulled up on my end. I mean, they literally don't say specifically what they're going to be doing. They just say
deploying clean energy, maintaining the land, and what else did you say? It was 3 things.
Communities' resilience to natural disasters.
Okay.
So, but that's so broad. What does that mean? Like, tell us what you're going to be doing, because that could encompass such a wide range of things, some of which might actually be useful, like the improving communities' resilience to natural disasters. Like,
but we got the Red Cross. So if you're looking for that,
there we go.
That already exists.
All right. Deploy low-cost, reliable, clean energy. That doesn't exist. Implement energy-efficient solutions to help families save money on their energy bills. That's not going to happen. Rebuild coastal wetlands to protect coastal communities from storm surges and flooding. I mean, haven't they been trying to do that for like decades?
How do you rebuild wetlands?
Just make it wetter. Just pour some more water on it. Manage forests to prevent catastrophic wildfire. Okay, well, they can start in the property next to my property in Montana because they have not maintained that property in decades. I mean, there is an insane amount of deadfall. The whole thing is a massive fire risk, and then they get mad at you for not doing fire mitigation on your own property. And it's like,
of course,
your land is way worse than mine. Go away.
And then you were telling me, is this the checkerboard situation in Montana where it's like the private property and the public land is in a checker pattern?
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by several sides, like by public land everywhere.
Three sides public land. And
that's
it's
so
all
weird.
None of it has been maintained, I would guess, in over 40 years. No one has gone through there taking down any type of deadfall, taking down any trees that are dead, anything like that. And then they fine you for not doing it.
What happened to like control burns? Didn't that used to be like a thing where they would do like little pockets and they had a plan and do, go across everywhere and do little bits?
I think what happened to that was the same thing that happened to nuclear energy, which is it got out of hand a couple times and people started freaking out about it.
Oh,
And so
okay.
people got nervous about it and said,
So then
well,
they
we can't do
stopped
that
doing
anymore.
it. Yeah, because
Or,
that's what I
you know,
thought. They stopped.
Another thing that happened with the controlled burning was, I'll give you a hint. It used to ride around in a limousine with Larry Sinclair. That's what happened to the controlled burning.
What?
You got
Obama.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, I was like, I feel like that didn't narrow it down enough for me, but maybe
Yeah.
that's just me.
He got in there and put the kibosh on it.
Okay.
Steven,
Is that when that went away?
I don't know. Stephen, you should know that when you're trying to make references to specific people being related to specific things.
Uh-oh.
Just leave me hanging. Good grief.
Jake doesn't know we talked about it on the show last week.
Yeah, I know.
Dadgummit.
Hey, there he is.
Where did I freeze?
You froze at specific people and specific things.
Yes.
Dadgummit, you're going to have to explain it for the idiots like me and Alden, is what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sure I was making some dumb face in that moment.
Gotcha. Well, and it was a throwback
Could
to
have
the
been
previous episode because we did go over the Tucker Carlson interview with Larry Sinclair.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting interview. I'm sorry I missed last week. I was wiped out from driving 32 hours in 3 days.
You have my immediate sympathy. I just did that recently. So
Wait a second. You have a Tesla. Can't you just take a nap?
I wrecked the Tesla yesterday.
Oh, my
yesterday?
Yeah, I've got major whiplash right now.
Dang.
Yeah, guy took a left turn in front of me, and I just T-boned the mess out of him. Like I was just driving down the road, and he pulled out in front of me, and my front end went into his two side doors.
God.
Not in the fun way.
Not a euphemism. Yeah.
Out there throwing skillets.
Yeah.
God.
So Tesla is on the fritz at the moment. We'll see. The airbag, I was going like 35 miles an hour, and the airbags didn't deploy.
Wow.
Save it though. It's a really good quick phone charger.
I don't think it's going to be totaled because
and dog air conditioner.
Freaking buddy. How's your back end, Daddy? Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a total because generally if the airbags don't go off, they're not going to total it unless there's like frame bending. I don't think there was. It was head on. So we'll see. Wasn't my favorite day of the year so far.
Yeah. Unless it's an older car. And then they're like, oh, you cracked your bumper? Totaled. Like, they're not messing with that. Like,
yep, but
your car's worth $500.
His car's screwed. So.
Yeah.
And he's also screwed. So it sucks for him. He was a nice guy too. It was unfortunate.
Oh, man. Well, another thing that could be happening with this, because again, bringing up Obama was that was one of the things he was talking about on the campaign platform. We need a citizen army or a citizen military, just as strong, just as well funded. Then you can't hear what else he's saying over the, and it was like it sounded exactly like the brown shirt movement being formed again. Because the occutards were, holding down Wall Street. And it was the Occupy movement. It was right around the time Andrew Breitbart got nixed because he was getting to the bottom of the Occupy movement. And it was all tied to organizations that were funding the Obama campaign. And there's speculation that he's still calling the shots. This is just his third term.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's clear that he has major influence. I don't think that's debatable.
Right.
But Stephen, as a climate survivor yourself, how do you feel about this whole thing being implemented on a personal level?
Well, in between nightmares and panic attacks, I just want to be a part of a better tomorrow, where we all care and come together. And I just want to know that my kids have a future where turtles don't have straws in their noses.
All right. Yeah, we're clipping that.
I mean, you had me.
It's going to be the clip of the show.
You had me at everyone coming together. I'm there for that.
That's right.
Buddy, you're not wrong. My wife could have tucked and rolled out of that accident without a scratch. You're not lying. All right, let's go on to the next one, Zach. Oh, yeah. Speaking of stunt people, the guy coming on in a little bit is a stunt man himself.
I had one last thing to say on this in the environmental thing, which is I don't trust the government to do this at all,
Mm-hmm.
we're in good company here, I think, with that one or whatever. The same
Oh, yeah.
people, we mentioned this like a week or two ago. I don't know if Jake was here for that. The same people that like state by state, like there's different laws on it, but sometimes they'll tell you, you can't collect rainwater.
Mm-hmm.
We'll tell you, oh, but we have this other good idea to restore wetlands or to protect you from environmental. I'm like, if you live in Phoenix, save the fucking rainwater. Like, what's the problem? Like, that helps everybody. It helps you, if you use it for whether it's drinking, you're more independent. If you don't have to water your lawn, if you can use gray water storage tanks or something to water your lawn instead of drinking water or whatever, like why are the same people that like I don't know the specific laws in Phoenix or whatever, maybe there they do, but like in general, I think Georgia doesn't let you collect rainwater unless it's specifically for agricultural, but they get really weird about it. If you want to drink it, then it's like, oh no,
Don't tell anybody I've got a 320-gallon tub in my backyard.
Yeah, we do not have rain police here. There might be municipalities like Johns Creek and what have you that would go around and check things, or various HOAs might get upset about it, but we do not have rain police here.
Okay.
We have a majority of our populace would get pretty testy about that.
Yeah, as you should. Like,
it's that way in Colorado. That's why we didn't buy land in Colorado. We chose Montana, is because you cannot.
You're restricted in what you can do on your own property.
You can't put a 5-gallon bucket out to collect water for any reason.
That's insane.
It's insane. Well,
the only place that should have a problem with 5-gallon buckets is Florida because mosquitoes, but I'm kidding also.
Well, we have a short-term visitor. Nicholas.
Yeah, a little bit later today because it's a special meeting, and so it starts at 9 instead of 8:45. So
there you
right
go.
On.
There you go. All
That's
right.
very specific for a meet time.
Yeah, 8:45.
Yeah.
Well, 8:30 was too early, and 9 o'clock seems too late.
And 8:50 is just outright.
All right, that's the Goldilocks time. All right, let's bring up the next article, Zach. Elon Musk's Neuralink approved to recruit humans for brain implant trial.
I hear it's safe and effective.
All right.
60% of the time it works every time.
This is something we could probably talk about for the entire night. I don't know. Let me get your first thoughts on whether or not, first of all, you think that Neuralink is going to be successful, and second of all, whether or not you would potentially get it in the future.
So first of all, yes, it's going to have some kind of success behind it. And for it to be announced that it's been approved to recruit human trials, that means we've been doing that for at least 5 years already.
Yeah.
We're just finally allowed to talk about it and get government grants and apply for loans and all that kind of stuff. So you look at, obviously, the focus is going to be on crippled children and veterans, that come back maimed from combat, things like that, you get in a terrible accident overseas at war, and you come back and you're paralyzed from the waist down, and you put this chip in, and hey, now all of a sudden your legs work. But all he's got to do is whisper, execute Order 66, and you go kill your local politician.
Good reference.
So it's kind of give and take, and it'll harken back to, if you've never seen his first interview he did with Joe Rogan, it's critical to understand what's going on here, because he's saying,
that the spliff one or no?
Yes, that's the spliff one, because he's talking about whether or not he does this is going to happen,
right?
Because there's borderline religious movements happening under this technology, because you got the biohacking community, you got what is it? Zoltan Istvan pioneered this on the political stage. Transhumanism. There we go. And it's been written about, from the likes of Bertrand Russell and things like that, since 70s and 80s. So this is happening whether he does it or not. And you have to just kind of assume that he is, obviously, first and foremost, he's a capitalist. So, you're going to make tons of money on this, regardless who rolls it out first.
True.
And then second off, maybe he doesn't like people telling him what to do. Maybe he doesn't, I wouldn't say that he's our knight in shining armor, that he's going to defend our digital freedom or our cyborg freedom or whatever the hell's next in this step of evolution we're looking at. But this is the next wave of medical technology. I mean, this is going to happen. I mean, we're talking about, chronic depression, addictions, paralysis, limb injuries, things like that can just flip a switch, gone.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, the more studies that come out about like electricity and just things, all your electronics and LEDs and all these things that are around us all the time. And it turns out many of them are not great for you.
Do you know the tests?
And yet we're, what's
Sorry,
that?
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and yet we're continuing to go further down the road to the point where we're literally putting things that we don't really completely understand, and we're going to put them inside the human body permanently to interact with the most important part of the human body. Like,
But I ate a bratwurst last week.
But
So, I mean, what's in that? You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of folks kind of have that rationale. Would I ever get one? I don't know. It's kind of like laser eye surgery. I'm kind of waiting for that 20-year data to come out.
Yeah.
do one at a time. Do one lobe of your brain,
Yeah, I mean, like once I've made my career, I've blazed my trail. I've got my kids. They're raised. I'm confident in the path they're going. If a certain something doesn't want to work all of a sudden one day, and there's an implant that can make that happen, hey man, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be a major disability or some catastrophe in my life that would basically force me to get that, because I have no interest in the possible side effects, the possible repercussions of what could happen if. I mean, people can hack into Teslas, so the fact that they can do that, people would be able to hack into your brain.
Yeah, are we going to put a back door in my brain? Like, I don't know. Thank you. I have one back door. That's all I need, You
don't even need that one most of the time.
I mean,
you got back doors on the brain, huh?
Yeah. And then like you were saying, Jake, that a lot of the things that we have, whether they're not good for you in the sense of they're addictive, or they're not good for you in the sense of like EMF radiation or like whatever. I was going to say the EMF tests, in order for them to pass the like cell phone test, they have to hold the device a certain distance away from the, like mannequin head kind of thing that's like has all the sensors or whatever. As if everyone walks around with the phone this far away, and they don't use actual like real life case tests. And that was the only way that it passed.
I do know plenty of people that walk around like this with the stupid phone on speakerphone.
Okay,
so,
no, that's people in public
on
grocery
speaker.
Store. Yes, that's unacceptable.
If you're talking on speakerphone in public, you're a social pariah. Everyone hates you, and you should not be allowed to live. Like,
I love it. I love it. You're walking around the grocery store. Hey man, can you reach the? Hey, I'm on the phone, bro. What? Yeah, but you're in a grocery store. Grab me the cheese dip and get out of here.
It's for me. It's always in the airport. It's always like sitting waiting for my plane, and someone next to me is on FaceTime full volume.
Yeah,
and you can hear everything.
Like, wear headphones.
Just wear some daggum headphones.
Wear headphones. Look like a psychopath, like everyone else. It just looks like they're talking to themselves on a bus bench or something. Like,
yeah. I mean, for a while that was weird, but now it's like everyone knows that you're.
Especially if you can see there's headphones, everyone knows you're. Yeah.
It's not so weird anymore. It used to be.
It'll be weird when we have the Neuralink and we don't need the headphones.
Talking on the phone in a public bathroom should be illegal.
Oh, that is so weird. Oh man, that is always really uncomfortable. I literally had actually it was when I moved here, it was the other month when I was driving down rest stop on the highway. A guy was doing an actual whistling while he took a shit next to me. It was the most uncomfortable. Yes. True.
Wait, where was it? It might have been me. Where was it?
It's like Missouri somewhere. It was really weird.
That's weird. I don't have so much of a problem with. I've definitely been on the phone in a public bathroom. Like,
I've had to text. I don't think I've had to call anyone.
I don't call them. I get a call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and I generally will answer the daggum phone.
Right.
Well, and it works for selling
the child is yours.
Like if you're supposed to be somewhere that you're not, and that's a quiet place, you can expect zero interference.
Yeah.
And it's got the echo, like you're in a cubicle or whatever you want to say. Oh, I'm in the foyer. I'm waiting for so-and-so to get here and unlock the door, you know?
I don't know. Hearing a bathroom on the other end is an unmistakable sound, in my
A
opinion.
public bathroom is a bad idea because, like, if it's just you can like mute while you flush. But like in a public bathroom, you can't control the urinal. You know what I mean? That someone's at. Like, it's a bad idea.
It's
Yeah.
very true.
So this kind of, I remember a story from a few years ago about breast implants can now be equipped with MP3 players with Bluetooth technology.
What?
And you know, I just couldn't help but think, like, you know, where's the 20-year data on that? You know, you get in the gym and, you know, there's chicks next to you on the treadmill, and then all of a sudden you're never going to
Is this a real thing?
up, never going to let you, you know, could someone hack into that, make it just play? No, it's a real thing. This is, I'm not joking about that part.
What?
No.
MP3 players and breast implants. It's
Hang
a
on.
thing.
What? How does this work? How does it keep battery? How does this work? I don't understand. Is
Right.
it like
Powered by the heart.
motion powered? Because I mean, I guess they do have certain things that now are powered by like their
Kinetically.
watches. Their watches that, you know, when you're walking, it gets charged.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would have to be something like that, I guess. But like, how do you control anything? Is it an MP3 player or is it just a speaker? Like,
Is there
what
like a
the frick is that?
3.5 millimeter jack somewhere, like in the nipple or something? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, or you just transfer data via Bluetooth, you know, and if it
This is
stops
some
working, you go get a new
cyberpunk
one.
weird
I mean,
shit.
You're definitely giving yourself cancer if you do that. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
insane.
Which, you know, is that what took out Senator McCain? You know, I would like to think it's the grace of God that took him from us. But, you know, it could have been holding his cell phone to his head for most of his life as a senator.
It
No,
was
I
listening to
feel like
Sarah
it was-
Palin next to
I
him.
feel like it was having a breast implant with this MP3 player in it.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, that's the whole thing with the technology is, you know, this presents a whole issue of how does the Constitution apply to this? You know, how do we have freedom in a digital sphere when we start merging with machines?
Mm.
Or do we forsake portions of our natural human rights by accepting this technology into our bodies?
Yeah, like the accept here, like the 30-page thing that we do
Yes.
for just to use our phone or
As part of
whatever.
the ULA, right? You know, like,
Yeah.
you
Look-
know, you're waiving these 3 amendments or whatever.
It
you know?
100% is like you're definitely waiving something because anything that you do in the real world,
You
It's
definitely
your-
will
it's
be
your
for the
choice.
trials.
it's like it's your choice. So like eating food, it's your choice. Getting on your phone, it's your choice. And you then basically waive whatever rights you have by signing those terms of agreement or whatever, terms of service.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to do the same thing for this. So yeah, you'd be giving up part of your humanity to become this ridiculous creature that I will not be friends with. Like,
Well, yeah, and what happens if you say you're paralyzed from the legs down or from the waist down, and you get the chip, you get the Neuralink, and
Yeah.
it activates your legs, and you finance it, and you default on your payments.
mm,
Do they just log in and shut it off?
oh,
You know,
man.
well, what if you're a pilot,
Mm.
you're flying an airplane or something?
Oof. Yeah, they
you know,
should.
what if you're a public bus
Holy
driver,
crap. Yeah.
and all of a sudden
My
your
s-
legs shut off because they repoed your chip?
My same point that I made with this, you know, the government wanting to like both save us from the environment, but then also like, you know, restricting what we can do individually to help ourselves and our communities and whatever sort of applies here with like the government, you know, wants to restrict what we can do with like psilocybin or something like that. And psilocybin has been shown to increase, I mean, like logarithmically increase neuroplasticity, which could actually allow you to rewire your brain to then use a different neural pathway to the legs and maybe walk again a different way. But that's illegal. That's a Schedule 1 drug or whatever, of course, you know. And so
Yeah.
now we're going this inorganic way.
We can't
And
just put cripples on peyote. What are you talking about?
This is why you have to go support Mr. Shane T. Hazel and his quest to open up Brave, a PTSD mission. Yeah. Anybody watch that episode on Monday or Tuesday or whenever it came out?
I've seen it and I haven't got a chance to it.
I have a
it's-
tab up for it. Yeah.
It was great, man. He crushed it. Like it was really cool because we talked a lot about Bitcoin and psilocybin and like mycelium and like the comparisons. I've been putting out clips all week. The comparisons between like Bitcoin and fungus and like the whole mycelium network and Bitcoin network. Is
mycelium the one that they put the little dots of like organic material down and let them in the pattern of the different cities and let them find the smartest, most efficient way? And then they in Japan or something, they built the trains based on what the mycelium found is the most efficient route between the points.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite like mushroom facts or whatever. Fungus.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's so cool. And like he was crushing it. But you know, his whole thing now, his like main project besides Bitcoin stuff is helping people with PTSD get through it by taking them on a natural medicine journey. Up in North Georgia, and he's setting up a 501c3 and all that kind of stuff. So
what is that?
Nonprofit organization.
Oh, okay.
I
don't speak nonprofit.
Either charity or educational purposes. Which, fun fact, a lot of news corporations are 501c3s.
Shrooms is Bitcoin.
I believe it.
So, would I get a chip? I would have to believe that I had control over it, and I had a way to shut it off and or get it out if I didn't think I did.
Yeah. It's bad enough I use this all the time. Like I'm fine with that. Like
like they're man, I just struggle. Yeah, I struggle with how much time I spend on my daggum phone. Like I can't imagine being able to do whatever I want online in my freaking brain. Like I'd be checked out of reality. Like,
I don't need that.
Right?
Yeah,
it's almost just like being in the metaverse forever.
No, this morning I went fishing, and the whole point is you leave the phone in the car. Like you don't use it when you're out there, and if you have it in your
half the time you don't even pick the hook.
You
just sit in the chair and stare at the lake.
Yeah, exactly.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So like right now, like we're in a period of a geomagnetic storm, right? So what happens in the event of a solar flare if you have one of these Neuralink chips? Because I was reading an article this morning that says that people that have anxiety issues or heart conditions or even pacemakers or this, that, and the other are more susceptible to electromagnetic radiation, especially during heightened times of a CME, coronal mass ejection or a solar storm. How does that affect this? I know that's
like if a solar flare short circuits everything that is electronic, then what do you think it's going to do to you if you have a freaking chip in your brain? Like you could be in some major trouble.
Does it make you a lightning rod too?
Interesting. Yeah. Steven, explain what this magnetic storm of red level is.
Well, I don't know what the red level. I mean, that sounds like a bit of hyperbole there, because it's really because as far as I know, NOAA has their own space weather dashboard, and this is still just considered a Class 1 storm, which means
I know the class is more.
Yeah. You're going to
so
get
it's not
some
like an X
lights here and
class.
there, but because we're in the period of the Maunder minimum, which is so we've got 11-year cycles of solar activity. And when you're in the Maunder minimum, the sun's not as active in general, but you are more prone to storms like this. You'll get these flare-ups. You'll get these strong solar flares, and those have various classes as well. I know the X-class solar flares, one we talked about before, that will literally melt a telephone pole off its base. A traffic signal being melted off its base, like happened in the 80s in Canada.
Next time...
this one it's not one of the worst we've ever seen, but it's they're just saying like, hey, if you live in these latitudes, prepare for your comms not to work certain times a day.
Yeah. The next time we go through like a sunspot, like a period of sunspot, like higher activity, like a maximum period, in either the next time or the second time, it could be really bad because we are also decreasing the geomagnetic like actual field strength. And if those coincide at the same time and you get a direct hit from an X class or something, it's bad news bears.
Oh, well, I mean, you got the Carrington event, in the late 1800s that erased the entire telegraph system of the whole country.
They lit on fire.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a problem. Like, and hey, word up to Biden's climate corps, that glowing ball of fire in the sky does more for the climate than the soccer mom driving a Tahoe. Newsflash.
I think they know actually, and that they're we have the red herring thing of the climate change is being put on like carbon and other things.
Oh, 100%. You don't get to the positions of power that they're in by being a moron. You know, like everybody called Donald Trump a moron for, everybody on the left called Donald Trump a moron forever. And he got to it's because he's not a freaking moron. And like,
no, they're
as
facetious,
much as stupid as Biden looks and as senile as he's becoming, he's not completely stupid. And like, they know all these things. They just know everybody fights for what they want.
And he's just
personal gain.
He's just a puppet figurehead, the same as almost every other modern president anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, if you adhere to the most royal bloodline theory,
right,
Donald Trump is the only one that's not descended from King George.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What does that prove?
And his son was sent here from the future to save us as well. But,
We'll take this a minute. Elizabeth will be listening on Rumble from now on. Hope to see y'all over there. Yeah, y'all. Rumble is where far more people view this podcast. For some reason,
let's just go crazy and do a 9/11 episode and just have a big hoorah goodbye on YouTube,
Yeah, I think YouTube might end up being the place where we put clips and not the full episodes. Because
I think that's probably a good way to go, yeah.
I mean, look at the number of views. Look at how many people are watching right now on YouTube.
I can't see.
There's 4. Okay, there's 4 people watching on YouTube. Generally, when I head on over to...
Hi, Mom. No, I'm kidding. She's not watching.
When I head on over to Rumble, depending on the episode, depending on what we're going to be talking about, it's anywhere, from 20 to 100 watching.
Okay. That's
so,
cool.
like, the fact that there's just something going on with the algorithm. I mean, we've been dinged so many times.
This much, they stunt you. That you can watch your growth, and it's like, it's gradually, organically plateau, and you're like, that's ridiculous. There's no way. Yeah, they do it on purpose.
Yeah. So I would heavily suggest anybody who's watching this on YouTube to open up a Rumble account. Go follow us on there. We're putting this Free Georgia podcast. I put out my other stuff on Rumble now. Like, it's a much better platform for the stuff that we want and need to talk about.
Steven, were you saying that Rumble was like the only platform that didn't take down Russell Brand's stuff?
We'll get to this. We'll get to that.
Oh, sorry.
We'll
teaser.
Yeah. Teaser.
Yeah.
So hey, what about you guys? What do you think? Would you take the chip?
Hell no.
No. You'd have to pay me an enormous amount of money after having broken both my arms and my legs and ripped them off my body entirely.
So we need to break you and then rebuild you. Like,
so what I'm hearing is there's a chance.
There's technically a chance.
What about you, Nick? What's up?
Nick, what are your thoughts?
I'm not taking the chip. Nope.
No, if I'm not doing
is it a moral thing or just you want to maintain bodily autonomy?
Yeah, it's the autonomy thing. I don't necessarily trust Elon Musk. I'm glad when he's on my side, but
he's not always on our side is the issue.
But he's not always on our side.
Yeah,
there we go. I'm not going to treat him like he's always on our side.
I don't want him on my inside. That's the thing.
Even if it was I think the only person that I would allow to control a chip in my brain or implant a chip in my brain would be my wife. Like, other than that, Steven, we agree on so many things. Alden, you and I get along like crazy. Nick, us too. Like, I wouldn't trust y'all for a second to put a chip in my brain.
you know what I would do all sorts of crazy shit.
My point.
I wouldn't want that power. I'd be like, maybe he wants to put his backup QB in this week. Like,
use it for fantasy.
It's too much responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. You know what though? Secretly, I don't need to do that for football dominance.
No,
you're sabotaging yourself quite nicely this year already.
I didn't sabotage myself. The world sabotaged my team.
A likely story.
Look, I'm not going to talk about fantasy football again.
No, we shouldn't.
It's too painful.
Well, hey, my team finally caught a break, and by break I mean Nick Chubb.
God.
Oh,
that sucks, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I finally got a great team. This is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you don't.
Kneecap.
Yeah.
So the way it goes in the NFL.
Yeah. All right, Zach. What do we got next, dude? All right, come in. All right, we're going back to Fulton County with this one, y'all. Yet again, how many times are we going to have to talk about the jails in
Build
Fulton
bigger
County.
jails. That's the answer.
I think we're the #1 Fulton County jail tracking podcast right now.
We have to be. I mean, we might be one of one. There might not be very many. Let's see. Fulton County leaders met Wednesday to try and address the crisis at the county's jail. Attorneys with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office urged commissioners not to approve funding for the transfer of hundreds of inmates out of state. Marilyn Primovich joined others with the Atlanta Judicial Circuit Public Defender Council. Good Lord.
Imagine having that on a retractable name badge. Like you would feel so special, wouldn't you?
Okay, I've got
go ahead,
an
Nick.
idea. All right, so the idea is we take all the county commissioners and the sheriff and we put them in the jail for, I don't know, a month or two so they can figure out how it works.
How many people would be left if you legalized drugs?
Amen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Amen.
That's a very interesting question. I
Well,
wonder
there's first order and second order effects to that. Right, there's the first order of who's in there on just simple possessions,
right,
and nonviolent stuff, and then there's what's the reduction in crime whenever you don't have to have street
here
gangs
forward.
fighting over.
Well, let's start with just the people who are there on possession, because I have a feeling it's going to be a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, they want to relocate 800 to 1,000 inmates. How many freaking inmates does this thing hold? Like, how many people are in there?
Almost 4,000, I believe.
Wow.
Oh, no, it opened in 1989, held more than 3,200 people earlier this year, well above its capacity of 2,700.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're also currently leasing 400 to 500 beds from City of Atlanta.
What?
Yeah.
What is up with the crime in Fulton?
Is that where the bed bugs came from?
The bed bugs came from the Rice Street facility, which I believe is Fulton County.
Yeah,
that's
Fulton
the one
County.
they wanted to put Donald Trump in.
Right.
What do you think would happen to Donald
Is
Trump?
City of Atlanta open again? They
city?
reopened the City of Atlanta facility.
Oh, I just thought you meant the city.
Yeah, I was like, the city closed.
I was like, I didn't know it had closed.
Because they closed the Atlanta one, and they were trying to turn that into a community center or something, and then they said they were going to reopen it. And I don't know whatever happened to that.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that either. But man, why are there so many people in jail in Fulton County? Why can they not let people back into their lives? Like, it's crazy. Do you think it's? I mean,
sentences are way too long.
How much of it is a crime problem versus a law problem?
A law problem.
Amen. Amen. How many people are in there for nonviolent offenses? How many people are in there because they didn't report for jury duty, for God's sakes? Because I think that was one of the guys that died a couple of months ago.
Really?
Yes. It was a misdemeanor bench warrant, which could include not reporting for jury duty.
But to be fair, if you die
classic.
because of bed bugs, survival of the fittest, you were meant to die, man. Like, sorry.
Tongue in cheek for anyone that doesn't.
This year alone, 10 inmates have died at the jail.
Yeah.
10. In a 5-week span, there have been reported 6 deaths, the last being a 24-year-old inmate who was found unresponsive in his cell on August 31st. Dude.
That's crazy. That's more than a death a week.
And more than half of the deaths were in there on misdemeanor charges. These are not like violent felons. These are people that like.
How is this not like a national, like, it so intrigues me on what stories get national attention and massive outrage, and like a bunch of people dying in a jail cell when they're not supposed to be dying in they're supposed to be like a protected class, basically.
This has been
in jail.
Yeah.
How is this happening?
And yet, if you read the national headlines, you're led to believe that the most dangerous thing facing us today is the plastic wrapper on American cheese slices.
I think it's a cultural issue
it's not
of
cheese.
like, yeah, the cheese is more plastic than the wrapper. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they like, this wasn't on our topics, but like those 2 idiot kids who ran over the cop on his bicycle and killed him this past week. Did y'all see that?
Was messed up. Yeah, that was messed up.
Dude, Like,
wait,
where's the outrage for this? They're just driving down the street. They see a guy and they purposefully hit him with their car, and they kill him.
Cops hit.
No.
These
driving in a car hit a cop.
A police chief.
Bicycle.
Well, I think he was just riding. I don't know if he was a bike cop. He was the chief of police.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't.
He was just riding a bike, and they had a stolen car, I think, and they just saw him and they just ran him over.
Wow.
What is up with our internet?
And they recorded it. Like, the video was going around.
Yeah, they recorded the whole thing. Yeah, he wasn't on duty. He was in civilian clothes. And you can watch it. It was one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen.
These are the people that jail is for.
Yes.
Right. Those are violent felons.
I'm pretty soft on like punishment and things like that. Like, I think our sentences are way too long. It's ridiculous. And I miss like the concept of like the communal sort of, reconciliation where you bring both parties together, you have a mediator and you go like, hey, like, you did this to them. How does that make you, feel? What can we do? Oh, they're going to, pay it back by painting your house, whatever, done. Let's go home. Like, I'm more down with like weird solutions like that would happen in a tribe of 30 people, at scale.
Right.
Except for the people that are murdering.
If you are a violent felon, if you do your time, you don't get to vote again ever.
That's crazy.
You don't get to own a firearm ever.
That's crazy.
Really?
It's ridiculous.
Grumpy Gnome over on Rumble says Chatham County Jail just had a second death in a week. So it's happening in multiple jails in Georgia.
Right.
Wow.
Well, and I've said this before too. This is the difference. And I know a lot of people like to curl up their lip to the concept of a privately owned prison. But if given a choice of a government prison and a privately owned prison, you better pray to God you get in the private one.
I would say I don't know
because
enough
they have a
about
financial incentive to keep you healthy.
Mm.
The government does not.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Very true. Sorry, y'all. I got. There we go. All right. Do we have anything else to say about?
I was just going to say. So they just can't wrap their minds around. What do we do about this overcrowding problem? And we kind of hinted at this too.
Right. Just, throw more money at it.
Tried to assess why most of these people are in there. Are those laws really necessary? Are they effective? Can we do away with them? Is there any other way to handle violating this law if the law is necessary? Because obviously at this level, what you're doing does not work.
Yeah. Right.
What would be the first step from a libertarian perspective to go that direction? Because it's got to be through policy. It's not going to be
so without a detractor holding office, without someone to be a stalwart to stand there against the current and say, no, I'm not doing this. Without legislation, we're talking jury nullification. We're talking. It's up to the attorneys. I hate to say that, but it's really up to jury nullification. You got the attorneys. And then, then you need a sheriff to say, I'm not freaking doing this.
What if we just looked at it like supply and demand? I mean, if you're going to get it down into like libertarian terms, like supply of inmates, demand for cells. Like if you reduce the supply of inmates and then truly don't have like a subsidized bullshit kind of a thing where we have a huge problem in this country where it's like, well, we're used to getting a certain number of whatever. And it's like, well, let's artificially zombie prop up this industry to keep, and we're doing it with humans, we're doing it with inmates, we're doing it with people's lives. It's not just like manufacturing cheese and then like storing it in a cave because we made too much cheese, but dairy farmers are like, I don't know, we're used to making this much cheese. That's a real thing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And the government will the government's like, well, we'll buy your extra milk and cheese and then we'll store it in a cave and then sell it to Domino's or whatever. There's someone's job. They make $300,000 a year and they go auction off cheese, like whatever. But like, anyway, that is, and it artificially props up instead of like letting, again, with like free markets and things like that. But this is something that's like, we're talking free market stuff and supply and demand with humans. How screwed up is that? But I'm saying that if you let it go naturally, then it would be like, oh, we don't need the space for 5,000 people because there's only 400 now in jail, in the same jail, because we got rid of a lot of bullshit laws and we went stripped everything down to like bare levels and like actually gave back a lot of freedoms to people or something, and then like, oh, all of a sudden you don't need to imprison 5,000 people in a county. Anyway, that's my rant on that.
Well, yeah, and really, what's the purpose of holding them there in solitude for days and weeks and months? You know, what's the end goal there? Because all you're
supposed to help people by scarring them for life. That's
all you've done is hamstring their ability to do for themselves.
Yeah,
they haven't actually paid the price to society. They haven't done any of that.
No, we have weird.
That's not restorative in any sense of the word.
No, you know, it's town square.
So first and foremost, we need a loser pays legal system, which that'll fix a lot of this stuff too.
That's interesting too, as a libertarian concept, actually. Like,
yeah, and then once you start getting into legislation, obviously we're talking about if there's no harm, if it's just you caught someone selling drugs and you got 2 consenting adults doing a business transaction, there's no crime, there's no victim.
Right.
They are both willingly entering that contract. That's not the government's place to sequester them for months at a time and then suppress their voting rights. I mean, that's the real voter suppression. Where's Stacey Abrams on this?
Hey, if you take away,
you got 4,000 voters that are half of them about to be sent to Mississippi.
Oh, she's not in Georgia anymore. She's
she's commanding the Starfleet. I forgot.
Yeah, she's in outer space, or she should be. Let's send her there. I'm a huge fan of her being in outer space.
But I'm just saying, like,
you take away
civil rights activists, so-called, let's talk about the working man. Hey, we got 4,000 people, and I'm sure at least half of them don't need to be there anymore. And now Sheriff Labatt's big solution is, let's send them to South Georgia or frickin' Mississippi. And now that's what the attorneys are saying too. Like, how are we supposed to represent our clients when we can't have a face-to-face conversation?
Right.
Like that, the whole attorney-client privilege thing, because bet your ass that Zoom call is going to be government monitored.
Yeah.
So no rights now for a misdemeanor? Really?
That's just crazy.
You failed a drug test on probation, so now you're shipped to Mississippi and you can't even talk to your attorney?
Yeah. Yep. All right, Zach, let's watch this hilarious video.
Oh, man.
Oh.
I had a chance to talk to a man who lives out here. He told me he actually heard the plane as it was flying past his house and crashing nearby, but he didn't know what it was.
I'm almost October the 6th. I'll be 72 years old.
Randolph White retired from his job at the paper mill
guy.
in Georgetown 10 years ago. He lives in this house with his wife in a very rural area of Williamsburg County.
Well, it's nice and quiet and peaceful, and I don't have to worry about people close up tight. I like space.
He loves living about 2 miles away from where he grew up. Normally, it's pretty quiet, but on Sunday afternoon,
I was in the bathroom taking a shave, and I heard a screeching. Between a screech and a whistle. What in the world is this?
Dude, I love this dude.
It's amazing. Says he didn't realize it was a plane at the time, so he didn't call anybody.
The first thought came to me, I thought, what's it, a meteorite coming out of space or something?
It's not a bad guess.
I mean,
the report, the thing was flying is too low. So yesterday evening, I said, the helicopters out there walking. Choppers keep flying around. Somebody must have robbed a banker, killed some people or whatever. I walked up there. He told me it was about the plane.
The F-35B airplane wreckage created an extensive debris field. The wreckage is located off Old Georgetown Road. Military security is very tight, with numerous red and white signs on the side of the road that read, "No trespassing. This area has been designated a national defense area."
Just with the grace of God, nobody didn't get hurt. Because the church right up there, about a half mile.
About a mile of Old Georgetown Road will be closed for an unknown period of time.
Anything man-made can malfunction. So you try to give him the benefit of the doubt.
The frick was on that guy's face?
But it needs to be investigated, and the public need to know what really happened. It shouldn't be kept a secret what happened.
He's crushing it.
It could have been a disaster.
And we have all of the information that we have been able to gather about this crash at our website. Just log on to counton2.com.
I like that.
In Williamsburg County,
I like that the military can just lose a plane and just be like, oh, this area is ours now. Like we're looking for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yep,
it's convenient.
So there's some fun parts to talk about here. The first part is, so that pilot just ejected from the plane, and there's not like anything that puts the plane down like on that. You just eject, and where the plane goes, it goes. Like I was waiting when they're like, yeah, we lost the plane. I'm like, I don't know, dude, crash into someone's house. Like I would have expected this too. God, I love these news videos of like, you know, of these black guys in the South. Sometimes you just find the funniest ones. Like, you remember that leprechaun one from like years ago?
Leprechaun is a classic.
Yeah.
One of the best videos ever put online.
The official police sketch.
The official police sketch. Right? That's just.
I mean,
oh man, but these low country folks are a different breed entirely, and I mean, this is a guy that worked his whole life at the paper mill. He lives 2 miles from where he grew up, and he's retired. And you hear that, and I love the part too where he said he's in the house taking a shave.
Yeah, I've never heard that term.
I've never heard that term in my life.
Did he censor himself? You know, like,
is he shaving, or is that for taking a not shave? You know?
After watching, see, I thought he might have been censoring himself until I watched the rest of the video, and I was like, no, he doesn't have a censor.
Right?
That's just him talking.
He doesn't filter. That's how he says he's shaved. Like, that's funny.
I loved it. He was so like he was just like, this is what happened. He was describing it to the best of his ability. He gave
down to
effects.
the onomatopoeia. Like, yeah.
I thought that was utterly fantastic. Without even touching on the fact that the United States military lost a multi-million-dollar.
I think it's 100 million, isn't it?
Somewhere around there.
The 35
100 million.
Yeah.
I think
that's
and they had no way to find it.
Coins in the couch, man.
How would you not know where to find it? He wasn't flying alone, correct? There were other planes flying with him.
It's a stealth airplane. Like, they can't see it.
It can't be stealth. You heard it go wee.
Right, you can hear them. But my understanding is, and this is what I was reading, is there's a switch you flip that turns off the electronics or turns on the electronics that would allow it to be seen by radar. And apparently they're flying these over the US with their identifiers turned off, so they can't be tracked by US
no wonder
radar.
It crashed. If you turn the electronics off on something that's flying, you're probably going to crash.
Well, it depends.
There you go.
I mean, like most planes, you'd be able to probably glide it down to the ground. Helicopters, you can.
Solar Storm got the best of him.
Wasn't this whole thing considered like it's F-35, right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
Isn't it considered like a massive flop of a project?
Yes,
it was.
It's a turkey. It doesn't fly.
This is the thing that who was it that was doing the weird Jeopardy thing for the F-35 project?
Jeopardy,
especially these.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
That the Jeopardy DOD.
DOD
yes.
Jeopardy, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Especially it seems like this F-35B, which is the short takeoff and landing version.
Yeah.
Flown by the Marines. That one seems to
pretty much everything they've come up with to do that never works. Like,
well, it was flown by the Marines. Now the other branches are going, oh well, the pilot was just eating crayons. That's why he couldn't operate the machine. You know,
it's probably true though.
But like, I still don't quite remember the whole reason. I don't understand the whole reason why they need their own planes in the Marines there. Like, you got the Navy planes, you got the Air Force planes.
Marines don't need their own planes.
You have the UFOs at your disposal, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Air Force is just like, it's just all these other military organizations treading on the Air Force, and the Air Force is just now the joke of the entire.
Well, the Marines were first.
Isn't Air Force part of Navy?
That's why they're called
leather. Part of Air Force.
The Army.
The Army.
Is it? Okay.
It broke off from the Army.
My bad. And the Marines were first because that's why they were called leathernecks, because they used to wear this leather protective covering when they were fighting off the Barbary pirates.
Interesting.
Which, if you know your geography, Barbary is not anywhere near America, so it's just a history of
They were on our coast, impressing our young adults.
Interesting.
Yeah,
they were trying to take our jobs.
That's right.
They took our jabs.
All right, guys, I'm out. I got to go do nerd meeting.
Have fun at nerd meeting, nerd.
All right.
And much like Biden's doing currently, they're actually trying to create American jobs, I would say.
The pirates. Yeah. The black market.
Yes.
Let's see. All right, let's go on. We're going to talk about immigration. Here we go. It's total free-for-all in Eagle Pass right now. Mass illegal crossing taking place for over an hour and a half. Almost 2 years to the day, we saw 15,000 plus Haitians under the bridge in Del Rio. We now have thousands of predominantly Venezuelans gathering under Eagle Pass Bridge. Look at these videos. I mean,
where's Eagle Pass?
I want to say Arizona. Let me make sure that's correct.
Okay, because there's other outlets right now playing footage.
Texas.
Okay, there's other areas right now playing footage from the Darien Gap, which that's the land area that merges Central and South America, and they're saying there's upwards of like 10,000 people a day. I think, or no, 100,000.
The Darien Gap is like one of the most treacherous places in the world to cross.
Right, and they're getting 100,000 people a day crossing it on foot right now.
How is that possible?
And up to half of them are Chinese people, is what they're saying.
Why is that funny? Look, if there are that many people traipsing through the forest across the Darien Gap, you'd be able to see that amount of people from space. Like, I feel like there'd be no trees left. They're just destroying everything.
Yes.
How?
That's what, at least that's the image that's being painted currently, is that we are being have been invaded. We are being invaded, and the big wave is coming.
Am I missing something? Why you said connecting the Americas and Chinese people?
Chinese people are over there.
Huh.
It's like there's a significant portion of the people crossing the Darien Gap on foot are Chinese, or at least they, from drone footage, they appear to be some kind of Oriental. I know I'm going to use an outdated political term here, but some kind of Oriental.
Look, I had a Chinese lady stay at our house the other night, and she referred to them as Orientals. So, like, I really don't see how that's an insult.
There we go. I just had somebody at work a few years ago like, China. You can't say that.
Yeah,
I can't say Oriental.
People say that all the time. Like that you can't say that. And then
what kind of rug is in my living room? Then
she had a thick Chinese accent, and she said Oriental, and I was like, "What did I just hear?" Huh?
Maybe it's like the N word for them. They can say it. But we can't.
Oh, interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
I don't know.
I as soon as she said it, I started saying it, so she didn't get offended. Well,
some people are just chill and some people aren't.
Well,
tell me how that's
circles a few times, she'll get disoriented. That's for sure.
No one's ever been able to.
I need another beer. Hold on.
No one has ever been able to successfully explain to me why the term Oriental is offensive.
Right.
Like I understand why the N word would be offensive. Like that.
Sure.
It's been explained to me repeatedly over
and
over.
But if Oriental's offensive, why is Asian not offensive?
Yeah, because Oriental Orient refers to a specific area of Asia.
Right. I mean, it's like an outdated dynasty. So I can get that it's like, oh well, it's not that anymore. But how is that offensive? I'm not tracking that one.
Yeah, I mean, even Native Americans have no issue calling themselves and each other Indians. I mean, some of them will get offended, but like I have been in the presence of plenty of Native Americans who use the term Indian.
Yeah.
Never use the term Native American.
Right. Well, hey, I'm a Native American. My family's lived here 4 generations. At least. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
maybe we should have gone the Canadian route and called them indigenous peoples.
Right. Well, again,
or First Nation,
my family's been here for at least 4 generations. I'm indigenous at this point. Like,
yeah, First Nations sounds like a cult. Like referring to some people as First Nations sounds really weird.
First Nations, Fifth Thirds Bank, Too many numbers.
Yeah. Where's the 3/5 bank? That's what I want.
You know what? Second beer. That's the number I want to hear. It.
3/5 bank, and you open in only urban areas and just see what happens.
All right, let's talk. Let's actually talk about immigration for a minute, because I was having a very long conversation last night with one of our friends about just a whole slew of topics. I've been trying to
get them on,
sneak in libertarian idea, not sneak in, just pelt her with libertarian ideas for like
that's
5 years.
Yeah, that's a frontline assault. Yeah,
and like she has one of her biggest concerns is immigration, right? And I know that within the Libertarian Party, it is definitely not a unanimous thing. It is, aside from abortion, it might be the thing that splits us the most as far as major issues.
I actually find that interesting, and because I myself actually am in kind of like a less opinionated kind of gray space about it, because it's a very complicated issue. I actually think it's funny that, and telling, that more the liberal and conservative groups in this country are so opaquely one-sided on it. I think that there is a lot of room for discourse on it. There is a lot of gray area, and I think that the Libertarian party, individuals that kind of subscribe to the libertarianism, being kind of all over the place, shows that it is complicated and messy, and that it is harder to just like fix with like a free market solution or some other kind of thing, because it's not easy. And so it's one of the things that when we talk about it, I kind of like hang back and listen to you guys more, just because I'm like, I don't know, I don't have a lot to say on it in a very like, I've thought about this for 20 years, and this is what I think. Like 9/11, I got thoughts. You know what I mean? Like prisoners, like overflowing jails, I got thoughts. You know what I mean? And then this one, I'm like, I don't know. It's hard. So I think it's interesting.
And I said this a few weeks ago when we hit on this previously, was so the the libertarian ideal, in a perfect, let's say utopian libertarian society, this is a non-issue, because what makes your citizenship special? What elevates your citizenship above someone who just got off the boat or just swam across the river, right? So the only thing is compulsory income taxes, right? So if you totally gut that, and now all of a sudden you're not a citizen solely because a portion of your paycheck is confiscated before you receive it. If you do away with that, because then at that you're also gutting this whole total social safety net that we have, and then that puts whatever social safety net that's in place that would replace it, restore it to, I don't want to say replace it, it would restore it to the way it was back in the 50s, 60s, and most of the 70s, was you have local organizations, neighborhoods, churches, or just actual philanthropists taking care of folks. Not because the government mandated this, just because it's why we're on this planet, is to take care of each other and welcome each other. So the concept of being illegal just because you exist is freaking stupid. Okay, and that's the whole linchpin of Obamacare, by the way. Simply because you draw breath within this country and you were born here, you're illegal now until you purchase a privately produced product. Right. That requires the labor of another citizen, and we call that slavery. So, if you can just take a step back, and a lot of people don't have this ability these days, and that's the problem we're up against. Is you have to be able to take a step back from this and just look at things objectively and assess, okay, what makes this an issue? Okay, because a lot of these folks, they are coming here to work. Now, the ones that are not coming here to work and or assimilate, those are problems. Canada went through this in the 80s, specifically with the Chinese immigrants, and they put in strict immigration laws. But the whole reason you have a border is because there's something special about this exclusive membership that you have, for being a country. And closing off the border is done because you're trying to protect your members, because your members have a vested interest in maintaining the exclusivity of their membership. I mean, let's think about it like let's go with the golf club. Let's do a microcosm here. Think about your local golf course. Why can't just anybody walk up and play golf at the local golf course? Oh, it's members only. Okay, well, what makes me a member? Oh, well, you pay these dues. Well, what do I get for my membership? Oh, this, and this. And that's why not just anybody can come in and take this stuff, because then it's not so special for the members that pay their dues. So if we
also
don't have
devaluing their money, it's basically them subsidizing other people.
Yeah. So as long as we have this whole social safety net in place, you have to have borders. There has to be some kind of prejudice to allow people in. It can't be just anybody. You can't just come willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to knock on the door and you have to ask, oh, hey, we're having dinner right now. There's not enough seats at the table. There's not enough food to feed everybody else. Come back next week. Come back next month. And hey, how about you send a letter first so we can get a seat ready for you? Something like that. It's just, taking common neighborhood courtesy to a macro level here. And it's just, that's kind of how that works. That's why, this system makes sense. That's why the border has to be defended, because as long as we have this stuff in place, all these social safety nets and these bailouts and these handouts and these food stamps and Medicare, Medicaid, all that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, good night, Grumpy.
Good night, Grumpy.
Yeah.
As long as all that's in place, it has to be protected and defended and monitored with prejudice. But if all that stuff didn't exist, well, hey, if you're coming here to work and learn and be better, welcome home, brother.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. What we were talking about, I mean, we hit on so many topics, but like the primary one is, as long as taxes are being forcefully taken from me to go to social programs, then we should absolutely not have open borders, because I do not subsidize a whole bunch of people coming over, diluting the workforce and lowering wages.
What if we applied the concept, and this is real time, maybe this is like some real stupid idea. Okay, this is like just going on in here. Perfect. What if we applied a similar kind of fluctuating rate kind of thing to immigration, where if you're a citizen already, you're grandfathered in, you have a certain sort of like tax level. I would like to see that go down considerably, but we'll just call it X right now. Okay. If you want to come into the country from anywhere, whatever, I don't care, for whatever reason, then think of it like a financing, like mortgage rate kind of a thing, like that can, like go up and down. And as more people want to come into the country, the rate goes up. So like, it's like, okay, you can come in, but your tax now is higher. Then it settles down for a while because less people are enticed to come in because it's more expensive. And then more people come in. You see what I'm saying? Like free market type of application to a fee for being a citizen type of a thing. I don't know if this is like, maybe this is the worst idea I've ever said. I don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one for a little while.
Yeah, truly, it's weird. But
over on Rumble, Kosher One says, no open borders, no taxing me to fund those that ignore our laws.
Well, and then this would be taxing the people that come in higher than the people that are already here.
Right.
In this weird theory, like.
Again, I mean, and that's one of the things Ron Paul's talked about. I mean, that's one of those things, like, as long as we have this system in place, as long as this government structure that we have is in place, yes, there has to be prejudice at the door.
Yeah, I think I have a solution.
Okay,
I think for you sponsor an immigrant coming in, and as soon as they start working,
like the AA, like
no, hang on. As soon as they start working, your taxes completely go away, and now they're paying your portion of taxes. So you no longer have to pay taxes. It's all on the immigrants. Only the immigrants pay taxes. And
how fast would people change their tune? They would be looking for adopting an immigrant, like,
yes,
immediately.
We would be
the same people that have pitchforks.
We'd have the most populated country in the universe.
That's
yeah.
In 3 years,
or you pay 15% higher taxes and then your next generation pays 10% higher taxes, and then and then like 4 generations deep, you're on par with us now.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that
taxation pyramid scheme. It's great.
Right, and we can just offload our debt onto your kids' as you come in.
All right, y'all. Chris says he might not be making it tonight. Bedtime with his daughter is not going well. So we're going to go, unless Zach wants to join in.
Too many
trivia.
cookies.
Zach, do you have any interest in joining for trivia?
Sure.
Yay.
Freaking go. I love the enthusiasm Zach has brought to the podcast.
The stoic acquiescence of Zach.
Stoic acquiescence. Band name, I call it.
Let's see. It is. All right. There we go.
I looked up at the left expecting to see Jake, and I was like, what? Like,
was that Francis from Pee Wee Herman?
You
stole his bike.
How do I do? I'd like to do, share screen. Here we go. So I think I can do, where's my other? No. Oh, I can't do 2 at one time. That sucks.
2 what?
People. No. Can't share 2 screens at one time. That's unfortunate because I have a scoreboard all queued up.
You got to move to Utah, man. 2 wives.
Yeah, Nikki's not up for that.
Don't tell Nikki I said that yet.
All right.
Yeah.
So I did what you said, Alden. This week, all right. So topics this week: this day in history, AI in film, and just plane crashes.
Okay.
All right. You all know the rules. Reach for that. Reach for that camera, y'all. Reach for it. Let's see. There we go. Alden, you're so bad at it.
I really am.
It is so painful. It's like,
you know what?
You don't like the opposite motion. You can't figure out where.
Yes. So I cut my own hair sometimes, and in the mirror I go to, and I'm like, like it's so hard. I go for the wrong side. Mirrors and screens that flip are my nemesis.
That's so good. All right.
That's great.
All right, we don't need to look at the scoreboard. No one cares.
We know. Yeah, we know. Who's winning?
All right. Question 1. On this day in 1780, which infamous person committed treason? Zach.
Benedict Arnold.
Benedict Arnold.
I should have. That's just like I should have known.
It's literally the most obvious one.
A saying.
Okay. Coming out with the fire.
I couldn't name a second person, so.
Yeah, exactly. Me neither.
I was gonna say John Brown, but yeah.
Martha Stewart. Yeah.
Question 2. On this day in 2008, the last baseball game was played in what team's historic stadium? Zach.
The Yankees.
You got it.
Wow.
New York Yankees played their last game
Dang it.
in Yankees Stadium. It was unbranded.
I don't know much about baseball, but I feel like if I was just going to pull a team name out of my ass, it would have been that one too.
That's what I did.
Damn it.
Question number 3. On this day in 1792, what form of government was abolished in France? Steven.
Monarchy.
Steven coming in.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. On this day in 1942, what was the name of the bomber that took its inaugural flight? Steven.
Enola Gay?
No. Alden.
B-52.
No.
No? Oh.
Zach? You got an answer?
Obtuse Goose.
No, sadly, it's not the obtuse goose. All right, you got 10 seconds.
Partial credit if I name the pilot?
No.
Can you say it one more time?
On this day in 1942, what was the name of the bomber that took its inaugural flight? Alden.
The stealth bomber.
No.
In 1942.
No. Not
the F-35.
Maybe.
Not the stealth bomber. Sorry. Steven.
Bomby McBombface.
Bomby McBombface would be the correct answer if I had named it.
Yeah.
All right. The correct answer is Super Fortress.
Oh,
Wow.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, that's a crazy one.
The other ones I was mad that I didn't say. That one I never would have guessed. So
yeah, I mean,
cool name,
some of these aren't easy. On this day in 2004, what band released its iconic album American Idiot? Alden.
Green Day.
Green Day is correct. Yeah.
Dookie was way better.
Yeah. Well,
what's that?
Fallen off.
Oh, Dookie, yeah.
Yeah, Dookie was the best.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude sucks now. Like, what happened? What happened to Green Day? Like that.
Billy Joe or whatever.
Oh my gosh, he's the worst. On this day in 1981, what Central American country gained its independence from the United Kingdom? Alden.
Belize.
Good job.
Oh, Belize that.
Belize is correct.
Belize you me.
Question number 7. On this day in 1950, which iconic American actor and comedian, including starring on Saturday Night Live, was born? Alden.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray is correct. Bravo. Next question. On this day in 1937, which legendary coming-of-age fantasy novel was released?
Ooh.
Alden.
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Wow. I didn't know it was in the 30s.
Right?
Yeah, it's old.
On this day in 1931, the Bank of England removed what policy from its basic operation? Alden.
The gold standard.
The gold standard is correct. Alden's crushing it.
I know.
I mean, I love Tolkien, and
the gold standard was a good. I mean, it's a great guess. You know, even if you didn't know it, that'd be a good one to go to.
Yeah.
Final question of round 1. On this day in 19 BC, which Roman poet known for the Aeneid died? Stephen.
Virgil.
Oh my God, it totally is. That is exactly right.
Yep. All right. At the end of round 1, Alden has 5.
Good job, Stephen.
Stephen has 2. Zach has 2. And the audience has a big fat goose egg. Y'all need to step it up, audience. You're failing miserably. I know y'all are way behind, especially those on Rumble. But
if we,
it's what it is.
The lag of it, yeah.
Yeah.
If we move to Rumble only, will that negate the lag?
At some point, I'm going to go to OBS, and that will put everybody on the same level. I mean, I would like to do just Rumble, but we have viewers on Facebook and Twitter.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to count them out. So yeah, it is what it is. Round 2 is not anything about Civil War. It's AI and film.
I was like, I don't remember this. Is it all about Captain America Civil War? Because that's film. Like,
no, none of it is. I'll give you a hint. There's no question about Captain America in here.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
All right. This was tailored towards the guest we were supposed to have tonight. So good luck.
Oh.
Which movie starring Oscar Isaac and Alicia Vikander premiered in 2014, taking on the AI problem of the Turing test? Alden.
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina is
wow.
It's a good movie, actually.
It's really one of my favorites. That movie.
It's so super good. The music in it is phenomenal. Dude. Oscar Isaac is one of my favorite modern actors.
Incredible.
That guy is insane. Anyway, yeah, great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. It's super cool.
For sure. Question number 2, round 2. What 2013 film depicted life as if Siri was a man's best friend? Alden.
Her.
Her is correct. Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. It was one of the creepiest and best movies of that year.
And truest, weirdly, yeah.
Oh, it's definitely turning true, and it's depressing. All right. What 1982 film followed the struggles of Rick Deckard as he hunts down replicants? Stephen.
Blade Runner.
Damn it!
Blade Runner is correct.
It's like one of my favorites. Too slow.
Oh, yeah. I heard Deckard, and I was like, say replicant. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
What 1983 film toyed with the notion of a young kid hacking into a military supercomputer, nearly bringing about World War III? Alden.
War Games.
War Games is correct.
Great movie.
Apparently, it's War Games, all one word and not spaced.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
You said it with a space. So.
Yeah.
War Games.
You did. War Games. All right. Final question of round 2. Which 2015 movie featured a police robot who is reprogrammed with the ability to think and feel? Alden?
I was going to say something else, but I think I'm going to change. Is it Chappie? Is that right? Yes. Okay.
No way.
Wow.
That was
the hardest. I didn't think anybody was going to get that.
Yeah. Because I don't see the whole sentence now. This is my own idea. And at first I was going to say the remake of like RoboCop. And then I'm like, no, wait. Because it's the other way around for that one. Like,
yeah. I was going to say Judge Dredd, but I think the remake was a little later than that.
That's actually a pretty good movie. Like under the radar, honestly,
that
pretty
one was
good.
not the worst. Yeah, that one's not the worst for sure.
Stallone's still Judge Dredd to me, but
I hear you though. Yeah.
Fair. All right. Round 3, 3 points each. After the second round, Alden has 13. Steven has 4. Zach is out of contention for first place with 2. Steven, you can still tie Alden if you get all 3 answers.
Okay.
Here's a hint. You're not going to.
I'm shocked.
All right. Question number 1. So this is one with numbers. Okay, so you get one guess. So make it count. 150 from 2014 to 2020, 157 aircraft were destroyed in accidents, killing 198 people and costing the taxpayers how much money? Mind you, this is 157 military aircraft.
Okay.
Killing 198 people and costing the taxpayers how much money? Steven?
$500 million.
All right. Alden, Zach, y'all got guesses?
I'm going to say $4 billion.
Okay. Zach?
I'm going to go big.
1 billion.
Alden gets it, but none of y'all were close.
It was, oh my God.
$9.41 billion.
I guessed big, and I was half or less. Like, that's crazy.
Those numbers don't mean anything to me at that point. It's just like monopoly money.
Right.
So
I don't comprehend that.
I should take the trivia equivalent of a knee here, right? Just run out the clock, like.
Yeah. Just stall, interrupt me a lot. You know? 256 military members died in a plane crash in 1985 on their way from I forget where they were from, but they were going to Kentucky from like the Middle East, Egypt, I think. What was the name of the airline that was chartered?
If they all died, I'm going to say Spirit.
Incorrect. Steven?
If just half of them died, we'll say Lufthansa.
Come on, Lufthansa is great. Zach?
I was going to say KLM. Isn't that Lufthansa?
No,
I just chose some random European airline.
So it's no airline that I know of that exists today. You get 10 more seconds.
They got some bad press, like.
Third round of questions are going to be hard.
That's what
the word Air.
That's the word I was thinking.
No, but that'd been that's a good guess.
Yeah, Egypt Air.
Yeah. Alden,
I'm going to make up a name. Orion. Just
that's good.
Trying a new one.
It's a good guess. It's a good guess. The answer is Arrow Air. Horrible name. Horrible name. You have to say.
Sounds like they do air conditioners.
Arrow Air.
Arrow Air.
That's why it didn't make it.
Yeah,
It's not
Arrow
this.
air,
It's not the
because
accent.
we want
It's
your
not
mouth to do things.
Yeah.
Gracious.
That's the
all
HVAC
vowels.
guy who wants to be first in the phone book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
AAA
have
towing.
4
Yeah.
A's in front of our company.
All right. Round 3, question 3. Final question of the whole game. In a NATO exercise in 2022, 4 U.S. service members were killed when their plane went down in what country? Zach.
Ukraine.
Nope.
That was my first guess. That's funny.
Steven?
United States.
No. I don't think we do NATO exercises over here.
You sure?
I think they're all overseas.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I could be wrong. Just a guess. Alden?
Iran?
Wrong. I'll give y'all a hint. It's Northern European. Zach?
Romania.
No. Steven?
Greenland.
No. Alton?
I was going to say Iceland because it's about as north and European as you can get, but that's probably too far north.
Were you going to say it or are you saying
Oh, no, that's my guess. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
incorrect?
I'll go for it.
All
Dang
right.
it. Not quite. Yeah. Not quite that north.
All right. Alden, no one got a single question in round 3 correct. It is 13-4 to 2 to 0. Thank you for not scoring a single point, audience. You failed miserably.
I didn't get the 4 billion thing. Didn't go to me.
Huh?
Or is that not on the last?
Oh, yeah. No, I guess it was. Okay. So, I mean, you were so far off, it was hard to count that for you. Like,
I was closer than everybody else. That's all
you
I
were
cared
closer
about.
than everybody else. 16-4 to 2. Bravo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey.
All right. Thank y'all for playing. Yeah. I like doing that just because I learned so much weird stuff doing
I do too.
researching
And
the
that's
trivia.
when something's close to it weeks later,
Yeah.
I remember it from previous weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It is very interesting. All right. What do we got next, Zach? Go back to being a producer.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
All
the guy
right.
that stole Pee Wee's bicycle doesn't like Russell Brand? Is that what I'm understanding?
Apparently not.
Here, Zach, I'll just go ahead and pull up. If I'm assuming your video wouldn't play, so I'll just pull it up on my end. Boom. Add to stage. Here we go. Let's do this.
YouTube suspends Russell Brand's revenues from his channel. That's how it started. YouTube has suspended Russell Brand's ability to earn money on the platform after allegations of rape and sexual assault in a massive hit to his finances. The 48-year-old comedian and actor has been accused of rape, assault, and emotional abuse between 2006 and 2013, and he was at the height of his fame working for the BBC, Channel 4, and starring in Hollywood films. He denies the allegations, saying his relationships were all consensual. The Metropolitan Police on Monday, he had received an allegation of sexual assault in Soho, London, in 2003. The force added that as yet, no investigation has been launched. And I highlighted.
All right. So that's the highlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, it's what's been happening. Like, it's what's been happening over the last 5 years. It's people getting completely destroyed online, taken down. He was demonetized on YouTube, all because of accusations. Like, there's no proof. There's no nothing. There's not. They say there's not even an investigation into it.
It's a shame for so many reasons.
The only recent example of this that I would support would be like Chris D'Elia, right? So like, Chris D'Elia had the allegations. He had like, 4 or 5 minors come forward and say something. And then you see his podcast co-hosts on multiple podcasts and friends, also other comedians, all of a sudden, like simultaneously go, ugh. Crystalia, get away from me. That's when it's like, okay, they called this man at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night after 5 beers, and he was like, yeah, I did it, but we're friends, right? And they're like, no. And like, when you see, it's just, so with Crystalia's situation, I don't know the man. I don't know what he's going through,
right.
But it's just weird because you see like all his producers drop him, this, that, and the other. And then like all of his friends that they have their independent things going on. All of his friends simultaneously were like, but like with Russell Brand, it's a little different because we're talking about stuff 10 to 15 years ago.
20 in some cases.
Almost. Yeah.
2003 was one of them.
Yeah, exactly. And he's been pretty, because 2003, we're talking about forgetting Sarah Marshall, those days, and he's been pretty open about, during those days, he was promiscuous. He was a fornicator. He was this, he was that, he was on this, he was on that, he was doing this, he was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But rapey was never one of those things. He was one of those guys like Donald Trump. They just kind of throw themselves at him. He can grab them in the whatever and just keep moving on about his day. And it's still really consensual.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting here is that you have these allegations that are up to 20 years old that no investigation was launched. They were reported at the time. He admitted in public interviews, it's not hard to find this stuff, in public interviews that he was not a good guy.
Yeah.
For several years.
Yes.
In this time frame. He got his life right. He cleaned up. He quit acting. Now he's just doing, stand-up comedy, which is kind of like a JP Stewart kind of thing, where it's like half comedy, half motivational speaking.
Yeah.
And he's got his podcast. He's doing that. He's kind of cleaned up his life. He's admitted to all this stuff. And so, like, this is not a revelation. None of this is new. All of this is publicly accessible, has been. None of the victims are clamoring for instant justice. I'm like, they've already said their piece and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's going on here?
Yeah. It's a lot of people are saying it's because of his time on Bill Maher. It's because of what he was saying on Bill Maher, which was talking about, pharmaceutical industry and like all that kind of stuff. But it seems a little, I don't know. That happened a long time ago. Like,
yeah.
When we're talking about,
it's not just Bill Maher. It's that he's been building a following. He has millions of people that listen to him now, and
it's true. What's hilarious?
Some real truth.
What's hilarious with that is they're saying that he knew these allegations were going to come out, and so he spent the last 15 years building a fan base that would defend him when the time came.
Oh my
what?
God. Hey, ask Louis C.K. if that works. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, fair. That's what kind of wild logic is that? That's crazy.
Literally, I forget which person it was, but one of them said that. It was absolutely crazy. This was super interesting, though.
That's assuming quite a lot that you'd even be able to do that. First of all, that's wild. Okay,
Russell Brand was like at Occupy Wall Street. He was like reporting there and like part of it, and like was on the side of Occupy Wall Street.
Oh, this man's had a whole political evolution in the last 5 years in particular.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like he has. What I'm saying is basically he's been involved in issues for a very long time. It's not,
which is why
he's been doing recently.
Which is why he's so good at speaking to people without offending both sides, because he's like, wait, hold on, I get it, I was in that side. That's why he's so good at speaking in general to people on a human level and not a side thing.
He is really good. That Bill Maher rant was one of the best spoken things on TV of the last 10 years. Like, it was incredible.
He rips into the corporatocracy and like the government corporate collusion type bullshit, and on a level that reminds me of like George Carlin a little bit, just not quite as funny, but a similar truth.
Yeah.
Well, and he did it with such a progressive twinge to it that he was able to
be popular while doing it.
Yes, and he was able to move a significant portion of the population into certain thought patterns.
Yes, that's exactly. That's why
crime.
He's quote dangerous or whatever.
That's
why
the crime.
I think this is happening.
The man has broken shackles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, one of the most interesting things. So he got demonetized on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
So
fast.
Then Rumble put out this statement. They said, today we received an extremely disturbing letter from a committee chair in the UK Parliament. While Rumble obviously deplores sexual assault, rape, and all serious crimes, and believes that both alleged victims and the accused are entitled to a full and serious investigation, it is vital to
Which
note,
has not even been launched, apparently,
right?
in this case.
It is vital to note that recent allegations against Russell Brand have nothing to do with content on Rumble's platform. Just yesterday, YouTube announced that based solely on these media accusations, it was barring Mr. Brand from monetizing his video content. Rumble stands for very different values. We have devoted ourselves to the vital cause of defending a free internet, meaning an internet where no one arbitrarily dictates which ideas can or cannot be heard, or which citizens may or may not be entitled to a platform.
Bravo, Rumble.
We regard it as deeply inappropriate and dangerous that the UK Parliament would attempt to control who is allowed to speak on our platform or to earn a living from doing so. Singling out an individual and demanding his ban is even more disturbing, given the absence of any connection between the allegations and his content on Rumble.
Yep. Well said. I agree.
Yeah.
Good on you, Rumble.
Crushed it. Bravo. Yeah. This is why we're going to go to Rumble.
Yeah, no, I understand. I feel like I want to go on like a Lewis Black style, like fuck YouTube, like rant right now or whatever. But we are there, so like I'll hold that. But I mean, seriously though,
and that's
he's being, I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Oh, and this is purely indicative of Rumble is obviously not government funded, right? Because this seems like they got a letter
here.
They got a letter from UK Parliament suggesting he be demonetized and removed from the platform.
Yeah, like that's any other business.
Was like, okay, good for you, UK Parliament, with all your extra letters in your words and shit. We're not going by this.
Yeah, no.
We're glad you had extra vowels to words that don't belong. There was a war that was fought to remove these extra vowels from these words. And we're not going to go by this. And, Russell Brand brings content, and that's, at the end of the day, what we're about. That's
I'm legitimately pleased and proud of Rumble for just sticking to what makes fucking sense in this world. My God.
Yep.
YouTube has lost its fucking mind, but it's part of Google now. Or is that right? It's Google. I can't keep track of that. Okay, so it's Google, which Google was basically given everything that they have to run their company by the CIA or whatever. So I don't trust them at all.
The carrier pigeon algorithm.
Yeah. So everything that they built their whole company on was gifted to them by the CIA. And then the CIA was like, oh, we don't have to report to taxpayers anymore about what we're doing because, we're not doing that anymore. It's a private company. But then it's like a private company that's, basically got the... Never mind. I won't even get into the...
Sorry, I have to go on a little tangent real quick.
Please.
Did you know pigeons used to be inside bombs to steer them to the correct destination?
What?
I kid you not. They trained
bombs?
They trained these pigeons to peck at a certain thing on this screen. And so they would put them in these bombs and have the screen so that it would focus on the target. And whenever the bomb would start to go off course, or missile, whatever. Whenever the missile would start to go off course, it would start pecking because the image would go a little bit to the left. It would peck at the image and it would bring the bomb back on course.
Get the fuck out of here.
I watched some videos.
I'm writing this down to look into this later. That's insane.
It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in my life. And
one of the most bizarre things I've ever had written. I've had some weird stuff written on my notepad. Missile pigeons is one of the weirdest things I've ever had written down.
Imagine being this full bearded jihadi that lives in a cave on the side of a mountain. And your biggest flex ever is that you can do monkey bars on a YouTube video. Look at me intimidate the U.S. military with my monkey bar abilities,
Right.
And then you get taken out by a missile pigeon.
I mean, I know they tried to do like the whole dolphin, like stick the bomb on the ship hull thing and all of that. And they've tried to do stuff with animals before. I did not know this about
the
pigeon
thing is,
bombing.
This one worked. They didn't try to. It succeeded. They used them in battle.
Oh my God. Wow. So the pigeon dies?
The pigeon dies.
So like what becomes of the pigeon?
Yeah.
Oh man,
you got to go watch these videos, man, because they give it like a detailed viewing of what happens to the
I just thought of Job just always pulling out the dead dove out of his pants or whatever. Like, God.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Stop good. Missile pigeons. Join the Climate Corps.
Yeah.
Right. But gosh. Yeah, the whole thing with Russell Brand, man, he's one of the biggest things on Rumble. He's huge on YouTube as well, but like he was one of the first ones to go exclusively on Rumble and get an exclusive Rumble contract. And I mean, not only would that piss off the people at YouTube and the fact that they no longer have control over somebody who makes a ton of money for them.
Yeah.
But he's also saying things that is very much against the
flow,
narrative.
We'll call it. Yes.
Yeah.
He is, though, one of the few people, and this is why I like him so much or whatever. And again, just speaking to his mind on this and how he talks to people and his content, if he is, right, if I'll take this couple seconds to say, if he is actually accused of rape, then that's a whole other thing, and we'll talk about that as a personal thing.
Well, if he's convicted, for God's sakes.
That's that's the word I meant to say. Excuse me. He is accused, but if he is convicted, excuse me. Thank you. Then I still even think that we can hold both truths of like, I don't agree with that. I still like what he said about this one thing. And I don't think that as a culture, we do a very good job of holding things independently about people. This circles all the way back to the prison system and why we're
I used
okay
to drive a
with
Volkswagen. I like the Olympic rings logo. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Audi. And Hitler was a good painter. I'll say those things. His other stuff. Not a big fan. But all the other things, like he did some good things. He had some good paintings. One of them was even a map for Call of Duty, I think. Right.
Is that right? I've made this like point before where like if you take just words themselves, and like some people have done this where they're like, do you agree with this? And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. And they're like, oh, but Trump said it. And they're like, oh, well then no. And you're like, but you just said you agree, and I don't like Trump or whatever, but like, it's just a point of like, you should think about things discerningly and independent of the greater context of things if you're talking about a thought, and I would like to judge a man more by his thoughts and the current ones. Like there are things I disagree with about myself a week ago. I'm trying to if we keep punishing people like this and thinking about people like, oh, you said that thing, this is a problem again of like, I don't want a chip in my brain or whatever. I don't want these thought memory. I have a hard enough time erasing bad memories as it is. And I would like us to be a little bit more fluid and to let go of the past a little bit more. And we keep holding these people to that thing you said that one time in college or whatever. Like,
there's no forgiveness.
Yes.
Like
now, again, I'm not trying to don't conflate that with like, oh, we should just forgive him for rape or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. And again, separate thing. And if he's actually convicted of that. But he is so
Alden told me
good.
Backstage that he does want people to forgive for rape, and he thinks that
that's
just need to forgive, and that's the solution.
That's my long con here. That's the only reason I'm on this show. Yeah. But he's so good at what he does that he's been able to operate on YouTube this long without getting banned for just like community guideline restrictions because he speaks in such a way, and he does like, hey, it's written right here. It's on. I'm citing it right here, like. And he does a great job, and he gathers a lot of people to watch him. I think he gets people to watch him that would hear points that, like, for some of us, it might be like, oh, yeah, it's, like, pretty understood already that the government is shit, But some people aren't there yet, And I think he's a good, like, gateway drug kind of thing, into this.
And he's 48, but he does have a link to the 20-somethings.
Yeah.
The 20-somethings are listening to him.
Yeah.
Because he's awkward and entertaining and funny, and he doesn't use profuse profanity, and so you can kind of listen to him on your lunch break.
He's family friendly. Yeah.
I would say full family friendly. He does cuss.
Well, okay, but he's not. He doesn't go out of his way. He's not like prove me wrong, like big dick energy. You know what I mean? Like where he's not like pissing off one whole side or something like that. Like he's really like pretty open to like, hey, like come one, come all. Like. I don't know. I really appreciate him for doing that.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, it's only a matter of time before he was targeted for something or whatever. And I'll just say I'm not surprised.
That in many of his broadcasts.
Yeah, it's true.
He says they're going to come for me if I'm over the target.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the allegations they're going to come at me with.
Yeah.
And hey, lo and behold, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
And that's the whole thing. So now, if Russell Brand is, fully deplatformed, and let's say, for instance, Alex Jones goes to jail, because that's his big prediction, is that if they ever put him in jail for something, they're going to detonate a nuke within the U.S. border.
Oh.
So, holy crap!
What's he being tried for or whatever?
Who, Alex Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh, God, all kind of stuff. Dude,
it's a ridiculous number of things.
I'll bet. Yeah,
and they're all dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a defamation thing or what's the
one of them?
His biggest thing right now is the J6 stuff.
Yeah.
He's on the hook for the J6 stuff. Owen Schroyer's got 60 days. I don't know when he has to do that.
He's appealing, so I don't know if he has to yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do it yet. But then Alex is still on the hook for that, and then the Sandy Hook stuff, and then there's several other things they got him on the hook for, and then his ex-wife is tied up in it.
But what? Okay, so the Sandy Hook thing, for instance, I forgive my ignorance on this, just in terms of Alex Jones or whatever. I don't watch a lot of Alex Jones, to be honest. I appreciated what he did.
Good for you.
At a time. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what people thought just because I'm into some conspiracy type stuff, but I don't find Alex Jones particularly I don't know the best way to word this. He's a little over the top, and he gets really gung-ho about a thing, and he's almost has that broken clock energy a little bit, where it's like a broken clock is right twice a day kind of thing, where he might be onto something, but he just goes so full steam ahead that he'll go right past 3 or 4 other things, and you know what I mean? I just don't think it's worth it. Don't set your clock by him,
I'll tell you what's derailed him, particularly in the last 5 years, is that he's had multiple CIA agents on his show as regular guests that will feed him good information, increase his ratings, increase his sales, pump him up.
Is this the two truths and a lie
crazy,
thing? Yeah,
off the wall, derailing shit.
That's what the CIA does, according to them. That's what the CIA. I talked about this on this show. The guy from the 1970 or whatever was talking about the Vietnam War and feeding information to the New York Times or whatever, and would tell them a couple of truths and then lie, and then they would publish it, and they would skew the public opinion toward supporting the war and blah blah blah. This is coming from the CIA at the time, or quote unquote ex CIA.
Yeah, so that's his whole thing. Is he's let people in and believe them and let them air their false theories and then run with them, and now he's left holding the bag.
Yeah, that's part of the problem of getting, 1, too big and getting too much attention, and 2, he's been in this a long time. I think he forgets what it's like to be normal. You know what I mean?
I think he's even said that. That was when he started.
He has said that. Yeah,
he was cut and sexy,
in a
and
way.
he loved life and all that kind of stuff. And then he did the whole infiltrate the Bohemian Grove.
Grove, yeah, I appreciate him for that.
He kind of ballooned because he was like, well, they're coming for me, they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I might as well just drink bourbon and eat McDonald's all day. And
he becomes kind of a scapegoat, though, where it's too easy to be look at this guy.
Now he's here
says
15 years later, and they're like, haha, we didn't kill you because we watched you kill yourself.
He's imploding, and so he's more valuable to them to make it look bad than he is dead. He would become a martyr if he died, and it's actually better that he goes to jail apparently now or whatever. But which I don't agree with that. But
or they can just put this financial pressure on him and watch him self-immolate.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We're to the funny part.
Yeah.
Funny part. We weren't at the funny part already with overflowing jails and.
This first one is a meme that's going around. It's a question that women are asking their boyfriends and husbands. Let's just see what you think.
Okay.
Go for it, Zach.
Apparently boys think about the Roman Empire a lot more than you would expect them to. So me and my friends decided to do some research, and we're starting off strong with how often do you think about the Roman Empire? On average, at least once a week. And then we move on to every other month to twice a week. And then, of course, on occasion, I was actually talking about them a bit earlier today, which he then followed up with, I'm more surprised that people wouldn't think about it. What about the Roman Empire am I supposed to be thinking about in my day-to-day life? Then, of course, you've got the ominous, not as often as I used to, which sounds like he's haunted by the Roman Empire. He's a teacher, and he was just teaching about it in class today. And an honorable mention for my dad, who said, never. I think about tacos more, so let's make that a trend. So, there you have it.
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing is, so my dad just recently, so he put a roof on his pergola that was attached to the back of his house. So now it's like an actual, enclosed deck. And he put some gutters on that enclosed deck. And I couldn't help myself but to measure various points along his gutter line from the ground level. And I came up with, I said, so you're running this at 0.25%?
The rate of fall?
Yeah. I was like, is the rain really going to flow?
Is this an aqueduct comment?
Yeah. But then I said, well, the Roman aqueducts were at least run at 0.5%, Dad.
Yeah.
And this was 2 weeks ago.
I'm telling you, man, like I guarantee you, I think about the Roman Empire multiple times a week.
Yeah.
Like, and
I just referenced the Colosseum and compared the NFL to it in a way, and like in distracting people from political things, and
I had no idea
absorb us while we go into burn or whatever I said last week or this week, I don't know.
Yeah, I had no idea that women just never thought about the Roman Empire.
Haley only does when she's on the receiving end of me talking about it, and I don't even know if that counts because she's not hearing it. So
every pothole you drive over, hey, there's cobblestones that the Roman Empire built that still don't have potholes.
They had like 7-layer roads or some crazy thing or whatever. The different densities for that reason,
Yep.
And all roads lead to Rome,
Yeah. There you go. So go look up that meme on Instagram and stuff, because there are some funny videos out there about this.
That is interesting.
Zach thought about Nero during this podcast.
There you go. Oh, because what you want to burn a copy on a DVD? Is that what it is?
Girls just like their grilled chicken Caesar salad. That's the closest they get.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a fall of the Roman Empire, though.
That's fair.
All right, we got 4 more videos. Let's do it, Zach. That's these dudes digging a hole at the beach, and it's a perfectly circular hole that they're digging. It's about 3 feet down.
Bernard. Now, finally, for now, mysterious hole on a beach has caused a stir in North Dublin. A local astronomy enthusiast is hoping the crater in Portmarnock could be the aftermath of a cosmic event.
What?
It's a huge, mysterious crater that looks out of this world. But is it? The unusual hole on Portmarnock Beach stopped local astrophysics enthusiast Dave Kennedy in his tracks yesterday, and he's certain the small but heavy rock inside it came from up above.
As you can tell by here, there's a scorch mark on this side here, so that would have been at the angle that it came down at. And it is weighty. I'm not sure if it's composition, but we're definitely going to have to find out.
Oh my God.
The striking hole soon caught the attention of passers-by, many hoping that what they're witnessing is the aftermath of a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event.
I mean, absolutely hilarious. Just two guys
ridiculous.
Dug a hole on a beach, perfectly circular, stuck a rock in it, and people thought it was a crater.
Oh my God. You know how many holes I've dug on the beach as a kid?
Do you realize that rock was probably like, I don't know, the size of my head? That would leave
an
way
bigger,
enormous crater.
Yeah, way bigger. You're talking
his last name was Kennedy, so they automatically believe him.
If it was to make, it would honestly be the size of like a grain of rice or a pebble or something to make a hole that size. Like, there's no way that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it's absurd. I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, Goku powering up leaves a bigger dent in the ground than that.
All right,
It's
you can go
so
to the next
silly.
one, Zach.
This is a perfect Occam's razor thing of like, we should explore the most obvious ones first. Like, oh my God.
Watch out, Zach. It's going to spin over. There's the doggy.
Oh my God.
Of course, it's a Jack Russell.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I used to have a Jack Russell. Those things are vicious.
What happened to the squirrel, baby?
The squirrel got away.
Yeah. Wow.
I thought that was hilarious. Here we
Jake,
go.
your internet's working.
What? Of course it is.
Well, it wasn't a couple weeks ago when you were trying to show.
Alden, your epidermis
on
is
the
showing.
I'm not showing these. Zach is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, Zach.
Did you know someone did a wind tunnel test and found that a cow
this,
was
yeah.
more aerodynamic than a Jeep?
Yeah. That's so good.
I love these.
A cow is more aerodynamic than a freaking Jeep.
Yeah.
That is so good. All right, this next one's a longer one, and I follow this guy because he is so stinking hilarious. He's basically just walks around. He gets hired by some companies, but he walks around giving very British compliments to people. And
I love this guy.
I just find him incredibly entertaining.
He is.
Go for it.
Those glasses are to die for. They are giving feline glamour out the wazoo. Have one of these.
Which one's the best?
That one.
All right.
Thank you for trusting my opinion.
I trust a man with good shoes.
You look like you're about to start a honeymoon. Can I give you a Soreen lip balm? They're enriched with vitamin B12 for the old brain bone. You know what I'm talking about. They're brand new. I'm a raspberry and vanilla advocate all day long. If you're not on a honeymoon, you very much seem honeymoon stage people. You're very honest looking eyes. I imagine you're dreadful at poker. I'd go heads up with you any day. No, be that guy. Just be that guy.
They are vegan.
There we go.
I am that guy.
Kush can take two if you feel like being opportunistic. You're last of the summer wine. You've been together for decades, but you're still managing this. That's stunning. I love the fact that you're scanning so hard.
I like Soreen a lot.
Did you want one?
Oh, of course. I'm going to go rogue, though.
You're entitled to go rogue. Never stop roguing.
I want you to say hello to my boyfriend. Can you say hello?
Whatever you've got going on to ensnare a wonderful person like this, congratulations on that as well. Love you. Couldn't love you anymore. Disembodied voice on the phone. Goodbye.
What's this?
That is a good Manchester bowl. That is a Soreen lift bar. As you came over, I heard the Stone Roses playing in the background. I'm very much
The
enjoying
Stone
colour scheme
Roses.
as well. Fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Good band.
I'll take it. You're a busy man. Take one. Get on your way. Go on. Scoot, skedaddle. Well done, the pair of you. You literally haven't stopped laughing. On the verge of crying. I'm just trying to give you a lift and I've reduced you to tears.
I haven't seen that one, but I've seen a couple of his where he just is doing the random compliments.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, like grocery stores will hire him to hang out outside their
Really?
grocery store, or like he got hired to be outside of a UFC press conference one time, and he gave one of the fighters or somebody a compliment that dude was not okay with. It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it was too British for him.
Well, they weren't crying laughter tonight, but it is what it is. I didn't watch a lot of Instagram this past week. So.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, that'll do it for today's show, y'all. We have anything else to say before we get off here? I guess, we have next Saturday night is the Banished Big Brother pub crawl down in Savannah. So if you are in Savannah, if you want to travel down for it, it will be from 7 to 11. I believe, does it say where we're meeting at the very beginning of the pub crawl? It's got to somewhere, right? Date and time, location. No, to be announced. So we'll figure out which bar we're going to. Oh, Moon River
Brewing.
All right.
Yeah.
And Alden, if you don't want to drive all the way down, you're welcome to drive to my house and we can drive together.
I was just thinking, I'm like, what am I doing Saturday the 30th?
Right.
I'm going to talk to Haley. She's my calendar.
I'm driving down that day and I'm coming back the next morning. So.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of calendar, I have to fact check myself. You weren't here last week, but I said this is like a pre-Gregorian calendar date thing. I was telling Steven about this. And I didn't come up with a 9/11 fact of the day for the day, and so I came up with it on the fly because it was like the trivia of the day kind of thing. I was like, oh, I know that September 14th was when the Gregorian calendar took effect, and they jumped forward a certain number of days or whatever. My stupid brain put it at October, which is the next month, and if you were listening, you know, but it would have been August 31st. It has nothing to do with Halloween. Don't listen to me. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry. I've lied to the people.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Correction.
If you know, you know, you know.
Yeah, we should have somebody who listens to this podcast every week. We should have
fact check us. Oh God,
fact check, and we should do a fact check at the end of every.
You need a whole other podcast to fact check us.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, Stephen, Alden, lovely as usual. Had a great time with y'all. Anybody who's listening, anybody who's watching, thank y'all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Go to lpgeorgia.com to learn more about the Libertarian Party. You can go to peacefulseaproductions.com to learn more about the production company that is currently producing this podcast, along with many more. Yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Don't forget to tune in to the Free Georgia podcast on Monday nights for video and Tuesday mornings for audio. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Cheers.